Welcome everyone to another edition of the Classic Comic Archive, a series where I recap and review many of Marvel Comics' most seminal early issues. Our story for today is Strange Tales 89, cover dated October of 1961. This issue marks the first appearance of Fang Foom, and was written by Stan Lee and Larry Lieber, and drawn by Jack Kirby. Our issue opens up with a striking splash page, teasing the coming menace of Fang Foom. But before we can witness such an epic showdown, we must first travel to the heart of communist China, where two Taiwanese freedom fighters are fleeing from the police. They're trying to free their nation from Chinese communist aggression. But they're not soldiers, they're explorers, in search of the secret of Fang Foom. Not much is known about this legendary creature, except that its name alone strikes fear into the hearts of men. It's in fact so frightening that the police abandon their pursuit when they spot the name graffitied onto a wall. So the two freedom fighters escape back to Taiwan, where our story can truly begin. One of the two explorers is a man named Chan. He's the son of a Taiwanese man and an American woman. His father is a proud nationalist, and had hoped that Chan would have joined the Taiwanese army, like his brother. While Chan certainly wants to defend his country, he doesn't think that serving in the military is the best way to do so. He's instead invested his time in the study of myths and legends, in the hope that they can be resurrected to fight the Chinese. But Chan's father is a more practical man, and considers his son's exploits to be a cowardly waste of time. At least he can be proud of his other son, who's just received word of a possible Chinese invasion. So he's heading to the coast to defend their nation. Chan decides to do the same, but he doesn't take up arms, he instead boards a small fishing boat and sails to mainland China itself. Then under the cover of darkness, he reaches its shore and sneaks past its defenses. He reaches his destination many miles inland. It's an isolated tomb guarded by a primitive tribe. According to an old manuscript that he'd discovered, the guards are forbidden from entering the crypt, even to pursue an intruder. So he simply rushes past them as quickly as he can, and escapes into the dark and cavernous tomb. Inside he discovers a massive sleeping dragon. This is the mighty Fang Foom that he's been searching for. To awaken it, he brushes its lips with a special herb. And so after centuries of slumber, it returns to life. But Chan is immediately struck with a sense of regret, and tells Fang Foom that he's decided to return him to sleep with a second special herb. This of course enrages the mighty dragon, and it declares that Chan is its enemy. While Chan's sudden change of mind may seem odd, he's actually only faking it. In truth, he wants Fang Foom to think that he's its enemy, so he can lure it out of its crypt. And sure enough, his plan works, as it rises up and tries to swipe at him. But he flees out of the tomb's entrance just in time, which Fang Foom is too large to escape out of. So it instead begins burrowing its way to the surface, where it's confronted by a group of locals who think it's a demon. So they foolishly try to slay it, but stand no chance against its incredible power, as it suddenly rips out a section of the Great Wall of China, and begins whipping it around like a rope. This awesome display of strength is enough to frighten the locals into fleeing, at which point the dragon turns its attention back to Chan. He's now on horseback, and is trying to lead Fang Foom to a nearby military base. But his plan is complicated by a deep river that his horse struggles to pass through. So Fang Foom catches up to him, and tries to grab him out of the river. But he slinks through its massive fingers and escapes into its rushing stream, which takes him to the shore. From there he tiredly climbs to the top of a large hill, but with his strength fading, it's only a matter of time until Fang Foom catches up to him. But Chan is in luck, as on the other side of the hill is the military base he'd been searching for. So he flees into it, and isn't stopped by any soldiers, as they're all too stunned by the sight of Fang Foom to notice him. But the dragon itself doesn't care about the soldiers, and remains narrowly focused on squashing Chan. So it begins chasing him around the base, and destroys any vehicles or buildings in its path. By this point, the soldiers have realized that Fang Foom must be stopped, so they begin firing at it. But their bullets do nothing but enrage it further, so it angrily squashes their armament and sends them fleeing. With them out of the way, it shifts its focus back to Chan, who's running towards a warship that's been ready to attack Taiwan. But it won't get the chance, as Chan goads Fang Foom into destroying it while he escapes into the sea. From there, he simply swims from ship to ship, and pier to pier, narrowly avoiding the dragon's attacks until it's destroyed the entire invasion force. But now he has to deal with the beast itself. So he hops into a speedy jeep and leads it back to its tomb. Once inside, he oddly grabs a nearby mirror and waits for Fang Foom to reach him. But this doesn't seem to have been the smartest move, as once it arrives, it manages to corner him within the deep crypt. So it takes one last moment to mock his helpless foe, and then powerfully punches him. But Chan is completely unharmed, as the dragon had actually just smashed his mirror reflection. The real Chan had been hiding, and in Fang Foom's moment of confusion, dashes out and brushes its lips with the sleeping herb. Thus it falls back into a deep slumber, leaving the weary Chan to return home triumphant. And once he arrives, he's met with a hero's welcome, as word of his great deed has traveled throughout Taiwan. So the issue subsequently ends as Chan's proud father thanks him, and asks him how he single-handedly defeated the invasion force. Chan simply responds by saying that there are many ways to wage war. Some men do it with a sword, while others do it with a bit of knowledge. That concludes Fang Foom's first appearance in Strange Tales 89, and another episode of the Classic Comic Archive. But as always, I would like to offer a brief review of this issue. Overall, I thought that this was a simple but fun and exciting story. I usually don't expect much from these early, and often formulaic monster stories, but this one stood out from the rest. While it was certainly quick and straightforward, Fang Foom was a menacing villain, and Chan was surprisingly fleshed out compared to most early monster heroes. I'm thus glad to know that Fang Foom makes a number of further appearances, although his second won't be for another 13 years. But in any case, let me know what you thought of this issue and the video, and feel free to suggest other classic comics for me to cover. Thanks for watching.